Greetings, everyone. Father Jim here. Hope you're doing well on this Saturday, and it is the second day of March. I'll just be reading from the Gospel again today, and of course, it's a very familiar parable, one that we're probably the most important parable of all, the most popular one that Jesus ever told. And so we read it in Luke's Gospel, chapter 15, beginning with verse 1. Tax collectors and sinners were all drawing near to listen to Jesus. The Pharisees and scribes began to complain, saying, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." So to them, Jesus addressed this parable. A man had two sons, and the younger son said to his father, "Father, give me the share of your estate that should come to me." So the father divided the property between them. After a few days, the younger son collected all his belongings and set off to a distant country, where he squandered his inheritance on a life of dissipation. When he had freely spent everything, a severe famine struck that country, and he found himself in dire need. So he hired himself out to one of the local citizens, who sent him to his farm to tend the swine. He longed to eat his fill of the pods on which the swine fed, but nobody gave him any. Coming to his senses, he thought, "How many of my father's hired workers have more than enough food to eat? But here I am, dying from hunger. I shall get up and go to my father, and I shall say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son. Treat me as you would treat one of your hired workers.' So he got up and went back to his father. And while he was still a long way off, his father caught sight of him, and he was filled with compassion. He ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. His son said to him, 'Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son.' But his father ordered his servants, 'Quickly, bring the finest robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Take the fattened calf and slaughter it. Then let us celebrate with a feast, because this son of mine was dead and has come to life again. He was lost and has been found.' Then the celebration began. Now the older son had been out in the field, and on his way back, as he neared the house, he heard the sound of music and dancing. He called one of the servants and asked what this might mean. The servant said to him, 'Your brother has returned, and your father has slaughtered the fattened calf, because he has him back safe and sound.' He became angry, and when he refused to enter the house, his father came out and pleaded with him. He said to his father in reply, 'Look, all these years I served you, and not once did I disobey your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat to feast on with my friends. But when your son returns, who swallowed up your property with prostitutes, for him you slaughter the fattened calf.' He said to him, 'My son, you are here with me always. Everything I have is yours. But now we must celebrate and rejoice, because your brother was dead and has come to life again. He was lost and has been found.'" So what does this parable today, which is often referred to as the prodigal son, tell us about God's mercy and how it can help us during Lent? Well, the word prodigal can have two meanings: to be wasteful or to be extravagant. Clearly, the son is wasteful, but the father, he's extravagant. Both meanings are evident in this parable. The younger son squandered his inheritance on a life of dissipation. That's an epitaph that none of us would want. And thankfully, it's not the end of the younger son's story. And Jesus notes that he eventually comes to his senses. Here in this moment, the son returns to the person he was born to be before he derailed his life. By coming to his senses, he now can return home, recognizing the pain he had caused his father and seeking to make amends. Now, his need for reconciliation and healing is greater than his need to have his own way. Yet, the most shocking part of this parable must be the father's response and his extravagant forgiveness. Instead of words of judgment, he responds to the return of his wayward son with a loving and accepting hug, with forgiveness. Obviously, this response was more than the son could ever have hoped for or expected. But when our expectations of God can often surprise us, even if they are limited by our own faults and experiences. In many ways, this parable is a wonderful image for the sacrament of reconciliation. Like the son, we choose through our words and actions to go off to the distant land of separation from God, the land of selfishness, pride, and excess. Like the father, God will not stop us. But when we've decided that we've had enough of that land, coming to our senses, I hope, just like the Father God is waiting for our return to receive us back, watching out for us with expectation. You see, God never gives up on us. The whole history of salvation testifies to this fact, which is why the sacrament of reconciliation can be for us our moment of return. So how about you? Has it been a while since you've been to the beautiful sacrament of confession, reconciliation, or penance? If it has, don't fear to come to this beautiful sacrament. The priest is not there to be harsh with you, to judge you, to scold you. No. The priest is there in the person of Christ. Christ is really present there in that sacrament with love and mercy. He's there to give you the forgiveness of sin. So if it's been a long time, or even if you're not sure how to go anymore, just simply go. Tell the priest it's been a long while, and he will help you through it. But do a good examination beforehand. In our parish here, we have little booklets by the reconciliation room there that you can use, and take some time to examine your conscience to see what those sins are, particularly the more serious ones. And of course, we want to emphasize how important it is to go often to confession. You know, for many, it's once a month, or maybe even every other week. Some even go every week. We all have to go. It's important. It's a beautiful sacrament that Jesus gave us. We're all prodigal children, but the prodigal extravagance of God's love and mercy is also waiting for us. Well, I hope your Saturday is going well. The weekend is here. Make sure you get to church this weekend as well as we come to the third Sunday of our Lenten journey. God bless you. Take care.